All right. And then let me make sure that we can hear us all right. And then we're going to jump into this environment here. There we go.
There it goes.
Okay, okay. Yep, I think they can hear us, Josh. All right. Hello, hello, everyone, and welcome to these weekly Wednesday live streams. And I wasn't gonna let these confirm I wasn't gonna plan on having these back every Wednesday, but I've been having a lot of fun doing these with Josh, and I think me learning and experimenting with digital, and I want to do more challenge stuff on these weekly Wednesday streams, and then eventually I would like to do more just like drawing streams outside of this typical time frame on Wednesday. So that is kind of the plan for these live streams. But anyways, welcome to this one today. And if you want to put where you're watching from, we always like hearing from you guys and seeing where from around the world you guys are watching from. And as always, I'm joined by my wonderful mod, Josh.
Hello, hello.
He will be the one directing all the questions or comments that you guys have. Then are going to do our best to answer them to the best of our ability. Sorry, I'm a little word heavy right now. We just prepped a lot of things really quickly, and I think we got it all working, and we like this new setup. You might have noticed I don't have the wall behind me today, and that's because I turned my desk around. Now hold on, let me open. I don't even have the YouTube thing up there. There we go.
Yeah, I love having your window right there now.
I know, it's really nice. I can actually be a part, well, not really a part of nature, but I can at least see it better than I used to be able to. And then for you guys, it's more of like a backdrop rather than just having like a flat wall behind me. But I want to mention before we go any further that we are going to be doing a Ghibli environment reference one more time. We've been doing them the past 2 weeks, and I have dropped the reference image below in the description. But if you are one of my Patreon backers, if you join alongside me today, I will share your work at the end of the stream. And I know we have Felix joining in today. He is one of our wonderful Patreon backers that is just a fantastic artist, and I know he's been very determined to get me to try to paint without color picking. And I promised him last week that on this study today, I will not be color picking from the reference. So it's not only a digital study using all these new brushes, but I'm also going to be challenging my color theory and seeing how well I can pick colors. Now, like I said, I mostly draw traditional graphite, and it's been a long while since I have really worked digitally with color. So my colors might be a little off. But a little note I always gave to myself, whenever I pick a color, I always try to desaturate it more than I would think, because that typically ends up being the right color. I think our eyes want to have things more vibrant, but if you create a scene that is mostly mid-tones, then whenever you punch those highlights or those saturations, they'll really stand out. So it's just been something I learned when doing digital way back when on keeping it more in the middle range for saturation, if not lower than that, so that you can really push where you want that saturation. Also, hello, everyone. Hello.
Yeah, let's catch up.
Okay.
All right, so we have Felix here. Felix is here. Vigilante is here. Felix says I'm doing the study. I gave my wrist some time off after crunching for my Laputa piece, but I can jump back into it today.
Laputa? You did not just call it Laputa.
Laputa.
Laputa?
Right? Oh, that's right.
He really does not like Castle in the Sky. He's even offending how he's pronouncing it.
Yeah, not a fan.
You're crazy.
That art guy, is that Antonios? Did I have that right? That art guy? I think I have your name. Gabriella Illustration, hello from Texas.
Hello.
Hello from Massachusetts. Elena, hello everyone. I hope to keep painting my lilac iris during the stream, but I have a massive headache from an extremely tense neck, upper back, so we'll see if I can.
Oh,
definitely give yourself a break if you need to.
Yeah, definitely.
Antonios, Felix, let's see. Yes, burn the color picker.
Yeah, we'll see how we do today. Actually, while people are joining in, and if you're downloading the reference, you can download it right now. I'm gonna share. Let me turn on. It's been kind of nice because I've been able to also have you can see my phone attached to it, so I can switch to this more analog video whenever I need to. I was working on this drawing last night, so I kind of want to show where it's at, and it's definitely a very weird, bizarre drawing. And whenever I do things, this is without reference or any type of direction, I tend to do a lot of like weird swirls, or I play with contrast or shading a lot. So I don't really know where this one's gonna go, but this one's been pretty exciting to work on. And then I don't think I have Oh yeah, I have a thumbnail for. I'm gonna do my first time lapse, if not tonight, tomorrow morning, with this new setup in mind. Josh had the brilliant idea. Let me show it. Let me take this out of the thing. He had the brilliant idea of having the lights behind the computer here, and this way it creates this really beautiful bounce light. So that way when I'm drawing, let me grab the drawing again. You see how the drawing has like very little harsh shadows, and then even when I get my hand in the picture, it's a very soft shadow that does not distract from the overall drawing. So this is definitely going to be fun for me to try to do more time-lapse stuff in the future, and I hope that this works. So thank you again, Josh, for that recommendation.
Oh, anytime.
I'll transition back here.
Zoom my camera out slightly because...
Okay. I think I'm gonna jump into this now. So, oh, and I forgot to show, but Felix, I have my reference on the iPad this time, so I'm definitely not color picking from like a secret monitor on the side here. I'm definitely gonna be doing this live. And like I always mention with these digital art streams, sometimes I have to play with the brushes just a little bit because I downloaded a bunch of them recently and I'm still trying to figure out what works for me, what doesn't. So if you see me kind of playing along, maybe not making a ton of progress at certain points, that is why.
Look who's here on my screen, Casper.
Oh, Casper! Hello, hello, baby.
Yeah. Trying to steal Astrid's food again.
As per usual.
Yeah. He's not getting it this time.
Oh yeah, so Josh, now that you've seen these, what is it, 3 weeks in a row, how do you think I should start this piece?
Do everything right in the front of the screen.
Well, that's definitely the total wrong answer.
Start with the back.
Yes.
The sky.
Actually, something even more I kind of want to do. Well, and I'm also not working on the Cintiq today, so this is also like double weird for me. Wait, let me make... It doesn't need to be 20 inches big. Hold on.
There it goes, sweetie. Oh, Casper. I know my desk is very tight.
No, it needs to be a little bigger than this, though.
So Andonies. Did I get that right? Andonies? Not Antonios, like I said earlier.
Let me move this color picker over. So I'm going to fill in the entire background first and then work back to front. Now, I have done these the last 2 weeks, so I've learned a couple things. There's definitely, I feel like every week that I do these, because I don't really do a lot of the digital stuff outside of these Wednesday live streams. I feel like every week I'm learning something new and like important live on stream. So I'm sure there's gonna be something today where I'm like, oh, I wish I would have known that on like one of the previous ones. I like having a messy block out. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like a comfort zone to see it more messy and then build upon that. But I like to fill in the entire space first, and then I'm gonna start working on the background and then move up. So I'm just gonna mask out that background that we did, and then I'm gonna start filling this in.
Hello, Ruben says, I struggle so much with landscaping pieces.
You and me both. I'm gonna feign confidence throughout the stream, but I'm definitely a novice when it comes to environments, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay admitting that, yes, I'm not great at this, but I'm looking to get better, so here we are. Do it live. Why not have other people witness you struggle and go along for the ride? It's kind of a nice ego drop too, because then I don't have to worry about it looking great, because I'm kind of admitting to myself that, yeah, this might look kind of rough and I don't exactly know what I'm doing, and I do have to watch tutorials. So I think if you also feel kind of rough with environments, I'm right there with you. This is only the third environment I've ever painted, and the only other two were the ones from the last 2 weeks during these live streams.
Okay, I got this. Is it on so like your your opening mouth of the dentist. So Andonis. Andonis? Please let me know. I botch names up so easily. But Andonis says, also, I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm sick of this heat and humidity. Bring on the autumn weather already. Same.
Actually, I mean, I love all the seasons. Summer though is particularly fleeting for us because it's so busy every year that I like try to enjoy it while we can. But I will say we've been very heavy focused on the fall because we've been working on Drawtober stuff with the other co-hosts, and it feels like it's approaching really fast because Josh is already working on the teaser song. I got the new logo. Actually, we can. I forgot we have a new Drawtober Discord community, and Josh, if you could put a
Oh,
link
yeah.
in the comments, eventually we'll put it in the description below. We're gonna get to the point with these streams. We were just talking actually before the stream where Josh is the one hosting it from his computer, and he's kind of just carrying, or I'm just kind of streaming everything to him essentially. So it'll be easier for him to like load up uh, images or links or something on the screen, much easier. You know what? I'm gonna work with a different brush. I feel like I'm resorting to my old ways, my slow ways, as I like to say. You need to find a brush with color variation on it.
But yeah, I like cooler weather, especially because I love having windows open. So it's just nice having like at least 2 or 3 months of the year where we can just keep windows open all day and not have to run the heat or the air.
Mm-hmm.
It's so nice.
I think I found this brush that I like here.
Gabriella says, taking notes from my own setup.
Oh, for recording?
Yeah, the
I,
bounce light is really nice too, because then you're not like having these lights directly in your face.
I'm telling you, I did not realize how much I was like messing up by having the lights directly on a pencil drawing, and I should have kind of known that it wouldn't work as well. So yeah, try pointing them at, if you're like facing a wall, have the lights face that wall and have it try to be slightly upward because it creates a nice glow bounce light. And then when the camera records it, it doesn't pick it up as, or it picks it up better without there being harsh shadows. I'm like trying to stay focused on this drawing. I feel like the beginning stages, I'm always like, okay, does that look right? Is this okay?
Yeah, and you can't color pick this time.
And I can't color pick. It's very weird. I mean, I feel very confident now whenever there's like a grass area because I'm like, oh, I know how that brush works. I know how to work it. But some of the like bush stuff in the background, I'm still like, this brush kind of works, but not exactly in the way that I want it to. So I'm still learning with that, I would definitely say.
Um, Andonis Andoni says, "How do you ever grab the wrong pencil? I'll be drawing with my 2B and then put it down, but then I'll accidentally grab a 6H and won't notice till I'm drawing."
To be honest, not really. No, that's never happened to me. I think because I'm so paranoid about using the wrong brush or the wrong pencil that I like double check whenever I pick a pencil.
You keep your little pencil case kind of organized, I feel like, too.
Mm-hmm.
Although it kind of gets messy, I feel.
Man, Felix challenging me to also not color pick is adding an extra layer of challenge today.
Well, Felix says the way I set it up is I have the large blotches of I pick large blotches of color first, then you can relate the colors to each other. Oh my gosh. Okay, the way I set it up is I have the large blotches of color first, Then you can relate the colors to each color to one another. So you judge the colors by how they relate to each other, then worrying about it matching the reference 100%. And then Felix says if you are unsure about a color, do it on a new layer and adjust it with hue saturation value adjustment slider.
Oh yeah, definitely. I feel like I'm more concerned that like these brushes, I don't know how they react to when I put them down as well. I mean, this is all user error. I can definitely admit that. But then like when the color also doesn't feel right, I'm like, oh boy. That's okay. I do agree. Color picking is definitely, or like eyeing it trains your eye in a way that color picking does not do. So I do appreciate you throwing the challenge my way.
You got this.
Actually, yeah, maybe I'm gonna lay out more blocks of color first, because I think I'm getting too focused on detail stuff when I don't necessarily need to be. It's funny, this is gonna look like a gray soupy mess for probably the first 15-20 minutes.
Kind of like the look of the soupiness.
It's definitely something.
Yeah, how's everyone else's summers going so far? And are you all planning on doing Drawtober this year?
I know we're very excited about Drawtober.
Oh yeah.
And Dustin had, so one of our co-hosts, Dustin, had the brilliant idea of making the Discord community, because actually we just had another talk, another YouTube, man, there's a lot going on right now. We made a talk about the decline of social media currently. It's on his YouTube channel. It's Inkwell Illustrations. I'll have Josh find a link for that and post it below.
Oh yeah.
But we were talking about how social media has been weird the last 2 years specifically. And I think for a lot of artists, or just anyone that uses it as a place to market their work or for online sales, they've noticed a dip of some kind. And I believe that what people are lacking with social media nowadays is the sense of a community or like a cohesive bond to one another. And I think it's partially because when we used social media back in the day, it was community based. Like you would be excited to post and you weren't worried about, you know, the engagement or how many likes or whatever it would be. You know, back in the mid 2010s, it was very much just like, I just want to post my work and have people see it and hopefully get excited or like it. It didn't really have this underlying, you know, capitalist nature that it kind of has nowadays, where I was talking about how a lot of the times when people go to Instagram, it almost feels like they're being sold something, where when they go to a platform like TikTok or YouTube, they're being entertained. So like, why would a user want to go to Instagram when they could be going to a platform that would actually entertain them? It's a very weird time. I think we're in a growing pain, so I don't think this will be forever. And I think it's good for other artists to hear that, even artists that I know that are very successful, and we've all been hit the last year and a half, 2 years. So it's not just you. If you've also been feeling a certain way about social media, we're all feeling it together, collectively as a artistic unit. And getting back to my point with Drawtober stuff, Dustin had the idea of like, what happens if we focus more on the community and less on social media growth? And his idea has been playing out very well. We opened up the Drawtober Discord on Sunday. We are already nearing 500 members. And you can just see the excitement is there, and it's definitely more of a conversation that's happening, or like people getting excited about sharing old, you know, Halloween drawings or costumes. And I think that's what you can't get from social media, is that sense of humanity. So I don't think social media will gain its reign like it once had. unless if it focuses back in on that humanity again.
I think it's just fun that we can actually have conversations with people.
Yeah.
Because sometimes through Instagram, yeah, it's hard. And there's so many comments, it's hard to keep track of like who we've talked to before. Even getting to know people, it's nice to at least get to know little bits of people through Discord that we can't through Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Yeah,
so there you go.
I'm sorry. No, I'm just excited for the music. I found out these. I don't know if everyone's ever worked with music, but there's these sound samplers, and there's this website. People like upload free hacks of sounds. It's like this one guy used like a toy, and he made these really cool, creepy sound effects out of it. And then I could use my keyboard to actually like play these different sounds. So I'm really excited to see. I'm not going to set my bar too high, but it should be fun this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have like more sounds to work with than I have in past years.
It's just fun to get excited about a community event again. I mean, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but then definitely Dustin believes that like art community challenges, for them to survive this weird growing pain wave that we're in, they're going to have to become more community based, or they're going to have to adapt in some way. Otherwise, they're going to die. And I remember having this kind of sad talk of like, you know, if we can't focus or if we can't garner people's interest through social media anymore, like Drawtober might have to be laid to rest. And I remember talking about, we had a meeting with everyone, and I was thinking, you know, if it really doesn't do well, then we'll have like a final goodbye. Next year is like our last Drawtober year. And then kind of the vibe was, why would you let it die? Like, just learn to adapt. And I think I've been taking that a lot to heart of, don't just give up when the going gets tough. Like, really try to find a way to make something that has a lot of potential, or a lot of people that love it at one point, or loved it at one point. You can't just let it die. You gotta like fight for it. So that's what we're doing this year. Or what?
I said we're not gonna let it go down.
No. Gosh, this will be so much easier once I get all the colors down.
Oh my god. Thank you, Felix. But Felix says it's not too bad this year. I bought a small AC unit last year, but I didn't have to use it so far. Oh, so you guys are getting like comfortable temperatures.
For the most part, we've been getting comfortable temperatures, I would say.
We had like 1 week where it was really hot, and then now it's warm, but it's not uncomfortable. And I feel like Tim and I don't really turn the air on. I don't know. We usually keep the air during the day at like 78 degrees. That's Fahrenheit.
Yeah, it's pretty hot.
Yeah.
Or most people would say it's hot. Me and Josh, we're fine.
Yeah, we'll survive.
We'll survive. Oh, that's my mom.
Oh
no.
It's her birthday.
Right. Thought for sure she would call me. She only tends to call me on Wednesdays during my streaming hours. I told her countless times when I stream, but moms will be moms. 2 gray. Or not gray enough. It's so weird. I haven't done like a color picking challenge in a while. So it's definitely throwing me for a loop.
I mean, it'd be fun to compare at the end just to see how close you got.
Yeah. We'll see. Not feeling super confident about it at the moment, but hopefully it'll get better. Well, like I was saying, I think it'll get better once I lay down a base of colors first. I think that's really tricking me up. But once that's kind of down, I can color pick from the image rather than having to constantly reference the color picker. Also, I'm trying to utilize these new smudge brushes a little bit. They're supposed to kind of help people who focus on detail too soon to like not focus on detail too soon. And it's definitely an issue I would say I have for sure.
Vigilante. Oh, you know what? I don't think I read this earlier. Vigilante says I'm playing guitar at the same time. And then I'm trying to relearn a song I used to play like over 10 years ago. Oh, that's cool. And I want to find a way that I could actually like play piano while Tim's working, because that'd be kind of fun.
No, that would be way too much.
I could just tinker and what?
No. Josh wants to do 10 things all during a live stream.
I want to play my piano while playing video games, while crocheting and reading chat.
Mm-hmm. Easy.
I got it. But yeah, I kind of get what you're saying with like trying to really learn a song, you know. I always hate that when like you used to play the song perfectly good and then all of a sudden you forget. But I found like once you find the rhythm of it and start going, then all of a sudden it all comes back to you again. But you have to get those first like, yeah, you have to get the first few notes down. Felix says, I also used to rely on color picking because it's the most comfortable option when you are a perfectionist. But think of it this way, the perfect study is not one where the results matches the most, it's where you learnt the most.
That's very true. I can't deny it, Felix. I know you're right, but oh boy, I'm feeling it. No, actually, it's going better now. I think because I knew the background, the far background areas would be the hardest for me, and then the field would be like a treat. So I just got to make it to the field, because I know that brush will do a great job with it. And even like in the way that I'm painting this, I'm realizing there's definitely a faster way to do this. So this is something I'll probably have to learn off stream, on like watching a few tutorials or even me experimenting with my own brushes and trying to figure out, okay, what works, what seems to not be working. Ooh, this smudge brush is too intense. Let me find a better smudge brush.
Elena says, in Finland, most of us don't have any form of AC because everything is built to keep the heat inside. My flat is okay, but like a sauna when I have 5 people over for D&D. Oh yeah. We usually turn our AC on when we have people over now because, yeah, body heat, it just adds up quick. Elena, are you still at your...
So weird.
Are you still at the cottage then, Elena?
But I'm going to definitely soften a lot of this and then come back to it, because I don't want to get too focused on those edges yet. Okay, let's do some of the fun. Oh wait, no, I should do the lake first. Okay, hold on. Or maybe this is a pond. I don't exactly know what to call this. Do the pond first, and then we get to do the fun grassy field part.
Andonis says, in Massachusetts, it is humid. A lot of the lands here are marshes and wetlands, so there's tons of moisture in the air. It's like trying to breathe through a wet towel.
Ooh. That is a description, really? That sounds not that fun.
I'm sure then it's probably like, is it mosquito-y then too? I always feel like when it's more humid, we get a lot of mosquitoes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I found out the reason is because mosquitoes, correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but apparently they lay their eggs where it has to be wet or humid or even in water, I believe. It was something where like they need it to
Oh,
reproduce. And that's why we haven't had a lot of mosquitoes. It's because it's been drier in Wisconsin from the Canada fires. Okay, I'm gonna
yeah,
try
I
this
hate
new
that.
brush.
When
This
you're like
one.
all. Oop, sorry, I'm
Oh
talking
my
a lot.
god, interrupting.
No,
How?
no, I'm the. You know what? This is what it's like to be you or me on the streams usually. Go
Oh
ahead,
my
Tim.
goodness. So what's weird about this brush is wherever you angle your hand, your brush will follow that direction, like a real paintbrush. So it works on the tilt that it registers. So this is one of the flat brushes I found in a pack. So I want to use it. Oh, there's no opacity on it? Oh, there is. Oh, weird. Because I see a lot of artists that use more like flat brushes when they work digitally. And once again, since I'm trying to like relearn digital, mixer brushes and custom brushes to those extent weren't really something that I used a lot. So I'm gonna definitely experiment with them a bit more now that I'm experimenting. Oh, weird. I kind of like it. Well, definitely weird.
Vigilante's learning Someday My Prince Will Come on the guitar. Or
Oh, I love
relearning, I
that
guess.
song.
But finger picking it. I love finger picking a guitar.
As long as it's not a cello. I love cello's my favorite instrument ever, but I always hated when people pluck a cello. I know obviously personal preference, but ugh. I just like a nice long deep note with a cello. It's so pretty. Okay, I'm not gonna focus on the highlights in the pond here, as fun as that would be. I'm gonna really try to let this still be like an underpainting.
Oh yeah, Gabriella says they like pools of water. And then Felix says, "Tell me about it. Our house is next to a lake. As soon as the sun sets, the mosquitoes are out of control. Either we go into the greenhouse or inside the house."
Oh yeah, I can definitely imagine that. All right, Josh, you ready for my favorite part?
Yes.
So whenever doing environment studies, there's this brush from Devin L. Kurtz, and Josh, you could put a link to that in the description as well. It is called, let me find the one, I think it's Wild Grass Block-In. This brush is so good that anytime I see a field now, I'm like, I got it. I can do this now. So I might block it out a bit darker first on some of these cooler green tones, and then where that patch of the highlight is in the reference, I'm going to then build upon that after. So let's see, I'm on a new layer. Let me lock it in. I just can't believe how good this brush is sometimes. Kudos to however Devin mastermind this brush creation, because I'm in love with it. So then Josh, this is another one of those times where the further back in the distance, the receding, the smaller the brush of this will be, and then as we get closer to the camera, I'm going to slowly make this brush bigger and bigger so that the grass strokes become longer and thicker, so it kind of gives the impression that it's coming closer to the camera. And that's the whole trick with like receding detail.
Oh. Gives it dimension.
Just, oh.
What? Wow. Oh my god.
There you go.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So something else that I really like about Ghibli in general when doing their studies is they're really good at understanding like patches of highlight and like light passing through trees. And one of the big things is if you have an area that's darker closer to the camera, you can pull more of the focus to the areas that are being lit by the grass. And I feel like Ghibli just always did a really good job at knowing how to do that in their environments. So now I'm gonna pull a more limey green. I'm gonna start filling in some of those areas.
Since Ghibli does their stuff frame by frame, right? They still do it like old style.
To the best of my knowledge.
So like, would they have to keep your drawing the same environment over and over again, or can they like copy paste
Oh,
it?
no. So the environment is just one painting. The character will be added separately.
Oh, it like moves over it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's my knowledge of animation.
Yeah. No, that's a good question. I mean, if you weren't an artist, like you might assume something like that, you know.
Yeah, I always thought for a long time I thought they literally every scene they'd have to repaint over and over and over and over again.
Oh my god, you really? Wow.
Yeah.
So then you must have like really respected Ghibli films. You're like, there is so much artistry that goes into these.
I lost
I mean, not to take away from it, yeah. They still do a great job. But
no,
yeah, I
that
guess
makes more. I mean,
not in the sense that you might have thought.
Yeah, that makes more sense though.
What is interesting, they do have on, I guess maybe this film specifically, it looks like they had more of like a blending of the colors. So I'm gonna, let's see here. Let's find a blender brush. So like I said, this is all, so, oh my god. There must be just enough of a delay where you just cannot help yourself.
I wait for you to stop talking for like a second and I'm like, I'm getting in.
Wait for those like 3-second pockets where you're like, okay, he's
okay,
done.
I'll start counting. Alright, go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
No, I'm done.
Okay, Anoni says, yep, thanks to mosquitoes, I know vampires would love me. You got that good blood.
Oh, Photoshop is loading now. What's going on?
Trying to think out of Tim and I who mosquitoes go for more. I always feel like they're going for me more, but maybe not.
I was gonna say, I don't feel like I get that big of a mosquito issue.
I wonder if blood type. Do you think blood type affects?
Because you're A+, right?
I definitely eat more sugar than you do too.
Actually, yeah. So maybe you
I don't know if
would
that has
be more of a snack.
Lena says, "Oh, okay. I really want to finish this painting before I head off to Hanko, probably on Friday. So at least try to paint a bit before I head to bed to try to sleep off this neck pain."
Yeah, definitely do.
Yeah, definitely keep the stretches. Yeah, I feel neck pain just not fun to deal with.
Ooh, actually, maybe this brush would be better for some of this. It's so funny because like I know what I need to do sometimes when I work digitally, but I don't have the right tool. So I feel like I'm sometimes fumbling between the different tool sets. I'm like, it's one of these. I just got to figure out which one or like how to utilize it properly. Maybe this one?
Oh, hi, Astrid. Oh, there she goes. Astrid doesn't like to hang around too long.
She's like, you boys streaming, I'm out.
Yeah, she's not. She wants to go to sleep.
What has been nice about doing these studies though is I used to rely on multiply and overlay quite a bit as a blend mode, and doing these studies I haven't really used them much at all, and I think that's been a big growth period for me because yeah, I definitely relied on them way too much. And even like I really want to use overlay on that hot spot in the field, but I'm like wait till the end, maybe even use I think it's soft light. Like don't just automatically go right to your old habits. Like try to do it in a different fashion. And I'm also really trying to work with different brushes here. So we'll see if that pays off.
So many brushes.
Mm-hmm.
Elena says, my plan was genius. Brought my own pillow to our cottage to avoid getting a knot into my neck from changing beds. It worked well there, and immediately busted my neck when I returned to my own bed. Also, I was stretching during that convo, but their studies make me wish I could just color pick the exact right color mix onto my brush while painting with watercolor. Oh, right. You could just have like brush pickers for traditional.
Yeah, watercolor is a beast. I give you so much credit for working with watercolor because that medium and oils I think have been the two where I'm like I just know I don't feel comfort with them in a way that like I don't want to force myself through it. Where like I'll have growing pains with digital and stuff, but I enjoy it to a degree and like I feel like I can get it. Watercolor and oils are just a different beast. So a lot of credit going your way for sticking with watercolor. And you're great at it.
Yeah, Elena, I'm so excited to see you continue on that flower. And then Elena also says, because I've started on the world famous weight loss medication, which is working for me, but eating large amounts isn't right now. Or eating large amounts isn't it right now. But tonight it felt good to eat a 3-course meal.
What's the world famous weight loss thing? I don't know if I'm familiar.
I feel like maybe I've seen something on TikTok. I don't know though for sure. I don't know the name of it.
I mean, I know all the celebrities are getting that weird cheek surgery thing. Or
the cheek.
Yeah, what's that?
The
I don't even know what
implants?
that's called. Are they implants? Like actually implants?
I think so, yeah.
No.
Andoni says, I'm a sugar addict, so that makes sense. Right? We have the sweet blood.
Okay, I learned this brush is a keeper. Love this one. I wish there was a way to like star brushes, or if anyone knows, is there a way to star brushes that you have in your brush menu?
You should be able to favorite them, I would think.
I mean, I could make a folder that's like my favorites and then move them around, but I don't know if I necessarily want to do that. You know what? I think I will add the boy, but I'm going to wait more near the end, I believe. Okay, let's work on some of these foreground elements, maybe. Let's see how I'm feeling with it, and then if not, I'll start working on those background elements first.
I love all the light rays in this one.
Right, if I can pull it off, it should look like the rays are coming down on that middle circle area in the field. So right now, they look a little splotchy. It doesn't look exactly as it needs to. One other big thing with digital is you want it to look cohesive. I think that was my big issue when we were in school learning about brushes, is a lot of times when people use brushes, it looked like a brush. And obviously I'm still learning, so a lot of the times when I'm doing these, I'm like, it still kind of looks like a brush. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. It's just something I personally want to try to avoid. And I think with a lot of foreground element stuff, when the brush is very apparent, I want to fix that. I want to like work with it. And that's something that I'm still learning. Man, Photoshop cannot handle my brush blend mode today. Maybe it's because I'm also streaming. I have my phone. I guess I can turn the phone off. And I have the Sony camera, obviously. Hello, hello. There we go. Okay.
Felix says that was me back when I only knew digital, overlay, and liquify were my best friend. And because of that, I lacked a lot of hard skills. Then, when I started painting with oils, my understanding of color just skyrocketed because I actually mixed them rather than overlaying everything on a new layer.
That'll do it. Yeah, it's been really cool seeing your growth, Felix. Even, I don't know, Josh, if you saw his new Castle in the Sky piece. It's really lovely.
I don't know if I saw that. I'm guessing it's on the Discord, though. Is it under whips? Or final?
You're just talking out loud.
I'm asking you.
Oh, as if I remember where everyone posts their things all the time. I can hardly remember where I post things. There was a moment where I was like, wait, did I post on Threads yesterday? And I was like, no, I didn't.
Oh, I got it. Ooh. Oh, it's so lush.
Right? I love it. You did a great job.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Thank you, Felix. You know, I love this.
Oh, weird.
Felix says Ozempic and buccal fat removal. Is that what you're thinking about, Tim?
Literally no idea.
Okay.
Josh knows I love questions.
It was in the chat.
We always joke because it's like one of my least favorite thing to wake up to people asking me questions. I don't know why. It's just like a really weird pet peeve of mine. And whenever Josh does it, I'll just look at him like, you can't be serious right now.
I ask questions because I don't get information sometimes. I need to know the details of the plan, the exact times, what we're doing. Tim hates the questions.
Like, they haven't even texted me anything about it. Josh is like, yeah, but it's like 3 months out. I should know by now.
Well, yeah, and then I check every like 30 minutes with you. Just in case they have texted.
Just in case. Oh, this is interesting. I'm trying to work with some of these flower brushes. Because the boy is laying in like a field of flowers, essentially. But it's weird. Because these brushes are definitely sharper than the field that I'm laying them on. So I almost might have to like blend them out just a little bit. I mean, it could be because the thumbnail I picked is just slightly out of resolution focus. But I'm going to do my best to kind of work with it here.
Elena says, thank you, Tim and Josh. Honestly, hearing your two's encouragement of my work is so appreciated.
Yeah. It's always cool seeing people do what they love.
Well, especially like a medium that I'm not too familiar with. You know, like being at conventions, we don't really know that many watercolor artists. I know one of our past roommates was a watercolor artist, but that's... I'm trying to think if there's anyone else besides them that I could think of.
I know our friend Naomi Van Doren used to do a lot of watercolor. She switched to a lot of digital too.
She's all mostly digital now, though. Yeah.
Kind of for the same reason of like, you know, it can be so labor intensive and time intensive to do traditional mediums that I think a lot of artists that if this is their full-time career, and they're like doing cons a lot, or they're trying to work social, especially if they're trying to work social media.
Well, and she has kids too.
And she has kids now. Yeah, that can be tough. This is so weird. You know what? I'm gonna try doing a soft light here to brighten up some of this middle area. I feel almost more out of my comfort zone than the last 2 weeks. And I'm not sure why. I don't know if it's because like I'm purposely trying not to use my own brushes. Well, it probably doesn't help that I'm not allowed to color pick either. It's almost more of a yellow. Not saturated though.
I think I made it my goal that I'm going to work on this blanket only during the Wednesday streams, so that this blanket will be like the stream blanket.
Oh, that's cute.
Right? I mean, I started with nothing, and we're getting somewhere. It's like a baby blanket right now. Right? A very little baby.
What is kind of fun about doing these streams though is I'm learning week to week what brushes I like, how to use them, and I'm learning definitely what brushes I don't like working with. So maybe I really should start saving them in a folder of like, yes, this brush, Tim, you like this brush, so that I can remember. Weird. Okay, I might touch up some of the back elements again. Just to give them a little bit more clarity here.
Lena says, watching the digital color wheel color picking, giving instant access to any color makes me laugh sometimes because I feel like I have a lot of paint pans at 34 total. For watercolor palette, I have a large variety of colors, but comparing it to a digital color wheel, it is an entirely different world.
Oh, it's not even comparable, yeah. I mean, Felix... I think digital has literally billions of colors, I think, with the amount of like little intricacies they can get between the color picks.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you can like change shades up so quickly too. Felix says, I don't know whether it was the sleep deprivation, but I got weirdly emotional when the sun came up as I finished my Laputa piece. Like, it hit me that I really just love what I'm doing, and I'm very grateful for everything, that everything is starting to work out finally. Oh.
Felix, that is beautiful. I love that you were able to feel that way. I just love hearing when people just are like enjoying life, and I think it's so easy to get caught up in not enjoying it, that it's nice like having those small reminders of like, yeah, this is actually pretty great.
Well, it's been cool to hear that you're doing so many conventions now too.
I think he had, what was it, 2 or 3 this year? Because I know you just had your first one, and that went very well.
I can't remember in October. Did you say a couple of them? I feel like there was a couple in October, maybe.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you have a few this fall. That's why it might be difficult for you to do any... Oh, that's right, because you wanted to focus on one primarily. That was it. Whichever one you pick, I'm sure you're going to hit a home run. I will say, environments are weirdly relaxing in a way that I didn't, I guess, I don't know why I didn't assume they wouldn't be, or why they wouldn't be, but they're actually pretty enjoyable. So you can get kind of lost in like being there, if that makes sense. Like you feel like you're like plein air painting, looking at the scenery around you.
It's very serene.
Yeah. I will say I definitely prefer working on. I'm not working on the Cintiq today. I'm working on this little tablet. This is how I learned back when I went to school, and I feel like I don't have to move my arm as much, so it's not as much of a workout. Because sometimes when I use my Cintiq afterwards, I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I just worked out my whole arm.
Do they make are the newer Cintiqs like flatter that you could lay it down flat and work like that? Or are
Yeah,
they still?
yeah. You like there's different attachments and arms for it, but I've never. I think for me, it's how big the screen is. Where like this
Yeah.
little tablet, you only have to move your wrist like very little, like almost minimally. So I mean, this I definitely think is like a personal preference. I don't think this is like true for most digital artists, and that's okay. You know, everyone's gonna find what works for them, what doesn't.
Yeah,
But
Felix,
this
do you
brush,
use a Cintiq?
you're right.
What does Felix use?
Hold on, hold on. All these questions, my God, all these questions.
What's for breakfast tomorrow?
Actually, I've been really enjoying that cereal that we got at Target.
Oh
What's
yeah.
that brand? It's not Magic Spoon. There's this new brand of cereal that came out, and when it's on sale, because it tends to be expensive, but it has a bunch of protein and only like 3 grams of sugar per serving. So for
It's
cereal,
made
that's
from
actually pretty
chickpea.
good. Is it really?
Yeah, it's made from chickpea.
Oh, what is that brand called? I just had
I
it this
forget.
morning. Oh my gosh. I can't think of it. You know what? By the next stream, I'll have it. I'll like have it ready to go, so I can promote it. Even though I don't make any royalties, we're not sponsored, but I think it's really good. I like it.
Oh, Felix uses a Wacom tablet.
You do, so you don't even use a Cintiq either. I'm telling you, Felix, there's something about just working on the little screen that I really like. And actually, we're in talks with, I don't know how to pronounce this name correctly, Zens Labs. This brand. Can you see it on the that one? However you pronounce that, XENCE. We're in talks with them because they want to be a part sponsor for Drawtober.
We don't know what
And
that means yet, though.
we have
We're
no
like,
idea what that means, but I
yeah.
assume that means they're going to give away some of the tablets, because otherwise, like, what what would they sponsor? You know, we'll hear them out though. Maybe not, but I feel like we do want to work with them. I feel like that would be fun. I just feel like it's giving back to the community again. I mean, not to get too like deep or anything, but in the grand scheme of things, like none of this like really matters in a way. So like, why not enjoy it with people that also want to have a good time in a similar either interest pool, or in Drawtober's case, like a Halloween spooky time, and make it as fun as possible. So like, we want to go out and make it as fun of a challenge as possible, but also give back to the community in a way where like they can win prizes. There's events. Me and Josh definitely want to do a few live streams in October where not only am I doing the prompt for myself, but then he can play like a horror game on the side. We're still trying to figure out how to do the split screen, dual screen, but I think that would just be a fun, like, kind of late night if anyone's up and just wants to chill while I draw and Josh plays a video game. That was okay. This is a little strange too, but I always wanted to date someone who was a gamer, because I could tell as I was getting older I couldn't play a lot of games like I used to, but I still really like video games, and I'll make time for certain ones like Final Fantasy 16 or whatnot. But I really like watching games because I feel like I still get the experience of playing it without actually like playing it. So I was actually feeling pretty lucky when I got Josh. There's some games though we definitely disagree on, and he's more of like a gamer, like MMO gamer. But when he plays some of like the fun to watch ones, like the Resident Evils, or I think you mentioned you wanted to play the Silent Hill this year.
Oh yeah.
That to me is like, that's solid. Like me drawing on a couch watching you play horror video games. Honestly, that's like a 10 out of 10 life for me.
Well, I think it would be really fun to do maybe, and we'll figure this out with Drawtober too, but there's observation duty. So it's more of like interactive game too for chat. I don't know if you've ever
Oh,
heard of that before.
no.
You're like you're kind of like on surveillance duty. So let's say it's like an old mansion or something, and you have to keep switching between the cameras between rooms, and you have to find different things that change, and then like label it, and they take
Oh,
care of like
like
a
Five Nights.
ghost. Similar, less like it's not as scary, but there's definitely like spooks. But it's a
Is it
very like subtle spook.
so they don't do like as much jump scare stuff?
Correct, yeah. But it's
Gotcha.
really fun because I feel like chat can usually be involved with that too. So it'd be a fun way to like interact with everyone, and we can all
Hmm.
help each other out.
I'm
So it might be
definitely
fun
not
one.
opposed.
That's one maybe we would do like on Drawtober Discord or something too,
Oh yeah, actually I'd be down for that.
right?
Because it's like we don't really need to be focusing so much on social media like we used to. Like I have to get used to that mindset shift.
It would be fun.
Okay, so I'm kind of working right to left on this background here and just like cleaning it up, refining it more. And then I'm going to get back to that field, but I feel like having somewhat of a nice backdrop first would help here. And I will say, Felix, it has been a good challenge doing the color picking. And I knew that this is the point where I like where you can kind of just color pick what you already have in the scene. Um, I think getting all the colors down can be a little time consuming at points, but then once they're all down, yeah, it's pretty easy from that point. And then you can kind of easily see, oh, that's too blue or that's too green in this area, and then adjust it.
I'm gonna do some catch up too.
Oh yeah.
Um, Elena says this is a bit embarrassing, but back in like 2018, I tried to switch to pencil art because of being such a big fan of Tim. It didn't last very long. It just isn't my medium. Switch back to watercolor real fast.
And that's what happens. Like certain mediums will speak to you, and if you can't feign it. Like there will be certain ones that just draw you in, and you feel confident with it, and you enjoy working with it. That's why even though I want to do more digital, um, I'll never give up pencil. There's something tactile about pencil that I'll always love, and digital will just be like a different medium. But I'm glad that you at least tried. I give a lot of credit to artists that at least go outside of their comfort zones just a few times and just see like what works for them, what they don't like, and then hopefully it like reinforces what they do like when they move back.
Oh, Elena also said, for some reason, creating contrast and shadows with different colors and different shades of color is easy. Trying to do it with just pencil made my brain just go nope.
Eh, yeah, I mean the beauty of working with color, and sometimes I get jealous of it, is like you can work with contrast in three ways with color. It's value, saturation, and hue. So obviously, if there's like a color shift, you put red next to green, that's a contrast. But if you put a bright red, saturated red next to like a very dull, dark, blood red, that's another contrast. And then the more obvious one is the one that I have to work with pencils, value contrast. So how dark or light is it essentially? Um, I think I've missed some of that aspect of working with color because I'm essentially limited to the contrast of values. I can't play with much more than that. And there are times where like, oh, it'd be so much fun if I could just have like a saturation pop here, but have them be the same value. So I think that's what I'm trying to get when I get back into working with color is like finding those fun color moments that I'm not necessarily able to get with traditional as easily. So we'll see. Also, I started creating a new area of brushes that I like working with um, because I think that'll help me moving forward here.
Lisa says, nice live stream. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you,
Um,
Lisa.
Felix says, this weekend is the next one, and then two in October and one in December.
That one's
for conventions. Gotcha. Oh yeah, so you have actually a bunch coming up then still.
Yeah, because I remember you were mentioning you tried to knock out this Castle in the Sky piece before the con. So I'm glad you were able to get that done, and I assume that will do well for you. I mean, as you saw with your Howl's Moving Castle piece, people definitely still really gravitate toward Ghibli. I mean, heck, I'm doing a Ghibli study today on a stream. I think there is just a magical, timeless quality about Ghibli that will never go out of style. I mean, obviously, some Ghibli better than others. I think obviously the ones directed by Miyazaki hold more weight to them than the other ones, but still magical nonetheless.
Um, Andonis says one of the things I love about doing landscapes is that you don't have to worry about anatomy. It's more organic, and the only thing you need to worry about is perspective.
Essentially, I mean, you definitely have to make things look how the viewer would expect things to look. Um, but yeah, I mean, to me, it's funny because I'm a character artist primarily. I think characters are easy. Doing things like this, I find very difficult. Just like a different like brain usage that I'm not used to. And I've heard before that you'll always be attracted to art that you can't do yourself. I think that's why environment art was always so appealing to me because I found so much mystery in it. And it was like boggling to me when people would say things like, "Yeah, characters are so much harder." Because I'm like, "Oh no, environments are hard. Like characters are the easy thing." But yeah, it's just what you work in. You know, it'll feel easier to you specifically.
Elena says, my high school painting teachers will be horrified at how I paint with watercolor. All the little details and not many big expressive strokes, and nearly no abstract shapes.
You and I are cut from the same cloth in that way. I focus so much on the details that sometimes and I've been doing this a lot recently. I lose sight of the bigger picture and composition because I get so excited about the details. And that's okay. Like, there are no actual rules to art. I think there's like agreed, suggested rules of like this will appeal to a viewer's eye, but like that's only if you want to appeal to the viewer. If that's your goal, obviously, then yeah, there are, I guess, rules in that regard. But if you want to make art that's more expressive in the way that you want to make, way different story, in my opinion. So yeah, don't worry about if your art teachers wouldn't like what you do, or the way that you do it, I should say.
Oh, Elena says, I would love to watch you stream Observation Duty. Have watched a couple YouTubers play it. Right? I think it'll be so much fun. We could just do like a little Discord stream or something.
Yeah, I'm like
I
legit
feel like
down for
it's
that.
right. It's a cozy time. I mean, it's yeah. I'll have to show you it, Tim. It's actually really fun.
I've never even heard of it, honestly. Well, actually, I would really like you to play some D by D or Dead by Daylight for those who don't know.
Oh yeah. I mean, we really that's where the Strawtober Discord's like endless possibilities because I could just do like we could just do group streams on there
Mm-hmm.
or like play games or something.
And
I
doesn't
mean,
have to be like an official announcement. You could just like push it on Discord, like, "Hey, tomorrow at 7, I'm gonna be streaming. If anyone wants to join." No
yeah,
pressure. Like, very low key. Because I think a lot of times we always think like it has to be promoted and it has to be shared and blah blah blah. But it's like we're not looking at growth this time for Drawtober. We're literally trying to just get an event that people are excited for.
right? Have a fun time.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna turn on that outline layer that I had just so I can kind of get a better grasp of where these rock details begin.
Felix says same here. I use pencil for life drawing, but I'm a digital and oils guy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
And it's so
I,
fun. Or sorry, you go.
oh, you go ahead.
It's really fun to see different artists like gravitating towards different mediums and then seeing them really thrive in it in a way that I feel like I myself could not, you know.
Oh yeah. Do you feel like you put your identity in your medium or not really? Is that like a
I'm
thing?
sure a lot of people project that onto different artists. Like I couldn't even imagine thinking of certain artists as anything but what they primarily do. Like it'd be really weird to think of like Loish as not a digital artist, you know. Um, but then when I think of traditional pencil art, like it's funny. I was gonna say Alan Williams or Miles Johnston, but they do a lot of oils and things that aren't pencil. So I'm sure a lot of people would put them in a box though, a pencil artist, but I feel like I know them for more than just that. I think it's just easier. I think as humans, we like to group people into different categories. And I think whatever you do primarily will be the thing that you get grouped into. And it's not supposed to be like a negative thing. It's just an easier way for people to keep track of everyone. Also, really quick, before you ask another question, I'm going to go ahead and block out this tree thing. It almost looks like a giant bonsai tree, honestly, over here. I'm going to do my best not to do it with just standard brush. I'm going to try to do it with, let's see here, one of these tree brushes. Ooh, that one's very leafy, too leafy. Yeah, this one. So we'll see how this goes.
Fetus is here. Hello, Curse Fetus. Hey, what's poppin'? Been woozy due to hip pain medication during my shift. Feels weird. Lovely artwork.
Yeah. Well, I hope you feel better. And thank
Yeah.
you.
That pain medication sometimes though,
Right? It'll get you.
right? Fixes one problem but gives you another sometimes. Uh oh, Daryl's here too. Hello, Daryl.
What up,
Daryl says
Daryl?
I'm the other way around. I find doing environments easy and characters hard. But you're
Mm-hmm.
right, I do love looking at character art a lot, partly because I'm not that good at it.
Isn't that funny? I just always found that fascinating. Because I think people would assume I save a lot of like hyper detail realism in like my Pinterest folders and things, but it's a lot of very blocked out, very fun color use. And like a great example would be like Yoshitaka Amano. I love his work. He's one of my favorite artists ever. But obviously, he goes more for like the feeling behind a piece, and things don't have to be necessarily in proportion or perfectly aligned. But and I love it though. But I don't think people would assume that that would be like my first pick. Except for I guess the gaudy Final Fantasy nature. Yeah, that I am into, and that I guess would be more obvious. But the
Oh
way that
yeah.
he paints, I don't think would be as obvious.
Curse Fetus says, do you like conceptual art? If so, how would you say you spot a fraudster in the circle of art? In that circle of art.
Oh boy, it is very difficult, especially nowadays with AI. I would, in all honesty, say I don't think I would be able to anymore. I think back in the day, like maybe I was better at it, but now, oh, there's no way. I'm sure there are like younger artists that can spot it easier or have a easier time doing it than I, but that is something I cannot say I have anymore.
Wait, what? What would be like a fraudster in conceptual art?
So I think the way that they're saying it would be like someone that kind of cheats. So someone that would just either photo bash like way too heavily or rely on references that aren't theirs, um, or just steal the reference altogether.
Oh gee, I guess yeah. Because I'm sure there's so much out there now that it's hard to like know who it even originated from.
Mm-hmm. Weird world we
Weird,
live in right now.
right?
Yeah, being an artist right now, it's very weird.
Elena says, I used to think of myself as a character artist, Then I just hit a level where I honestly felt like I had reached my maximum skill level in characters, and that drove me to stick to florals. Well, I feel like the florals probably have the same effect that these environments do too, where it's almost like, I would hope it's like therapeutic for you to work on almost.
Oh, it has to be. I
Yeah.
feel like when you see someone thriving in art medium, it's like I feel like they have to be super enjoying that.
Right? Well, you're like combining art, which is already very calming, but then you're also adding like nature into it, which has
Yeah.
that same effect.
And when you need to take like reference, you get to like go to a fun forest or observatory or something where there's a lot of flowers. Yeah, that sounds great.
Cursed Fetus says, "Do you think survivors are stronger than killers in D by D, or vice versa?" Ooh,
um,
that's like an age-old debate. Like, Tim doesn't play it much, but I'll let you answer first what you think.
from what I know, I would say Josh would say it's more fun to be a survivor, um, because from what I've seen, a lot of people feel like being a killer is just a lot of work. Uh, Whereas with a survivor, you can kind of have some low key moments. Like if you're doing a generator, you don't have to be paying attention the whole time. Like if you're a killer, you have to be on the entire time because it's basically relying on you when the game ends if you win. But for survivors, I mean, you could have one survivor that's just like terrible on your team, but you could still win. But if you are a terrible killer, there's no way you're gonna win. But what would you say?
Yeah, I would say, ooh, I think, I think if you want to win and you're playing by yourself, killer would be easier. Um, but killer's really hard if you're playing against a group of survivors that's like teamed up together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it's both, which is not an answer. I would say probably. Oh gosh, I'm so bad at giving definitives. I would say I only really play Survivor most of the time. I would say they're stronger.
Mm.
If you're with, but it comes to your teammates though too. Felix says, "Geez, I'm still at the background."
I mean, I'm pushing through pretty quick because I'm on a live stream. I feel like I could be spending way more time on different areas here.
Oh, you'll do some touch-ups later probably.
For the last streams, I haven't. I like just send them as is. The only thing I think with the night one is I had to finish a window. Oh no, I think I did do that on stream though.
Oh. No,
Yeah,
I
we'll
thought you
see.
had the one window you didn't finish, right?
I don't know. I'd have to rewatch. Isn't that sad that I literally had it done last week, but I can't even remember if I worked on something afterwards or not? There's just so much that happens week to week with us.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, there was like a wedding. There's a
We
bunch
had
of
a
stuff
wedding in
last week.
between.
Yeah.
Obviously, this new setup last night was kind of crazy.
Oh yeah. So the other night, it was like 1 a.m. and I was getting ready to head up to bed. Tim was in his room most of the night, so I walk in his room and it's just everything's everywhere. um, but yeah, I like your new arrangement a lot.
I do too.
Andonice says, "What what you and those like Villarte and Moorbacher do is inspire me to try and achieve my own fantastical realism."
Oh, I love that. Actually, it's funny. I was playing Age of Mythology with Pete. He's the one behind Angelarium, and I found out he really likes real-time strategy games, but he wants me and Josh to play StarCraft. I'm not a big sci-fi person, so I'm trying to lean him back into the fantasy RTSs.
Come back
But
to
it was
Age of Mythology.
I got Josh into it for a little bit, and actually, Josh, I would look. Could we play one before I leave today?
Yep.
I
I'm
really
really
like.
bad at it.
Oh, I love it. And then we found out because like out of the blue, we got into it because on Steam it was like 75% off or 80% off. It was like a crazy amount off. And I convinced Josh to try it with me. And then we found out they're actually like remaking it, like out of the blue. This is like a game that is, I don't know, 15 years old. It's super old. And I didn't even think it was that popular, but yeah, they're remaking it. So
It's
guess who's
fun.
going to be buying that day one?
I always played the Total War games for like RTS, and then I don't know if anyone ever played it. It was called Battle for Middle Earth, but it's kind of as like Age of Mythology, but Lord of the Rings based. But yeah, I like Age of Mythology. Definitely is way more management than I thought it was going to be, though. You have to
It's difficult.
constantly, yeah. And you have to be doing something every second of the match.
I was trying to explain to Pete, I was like, no, this is like a legit difficult game. Like, if you play versus a hard computer, it is incredibly difficult. And that's not even the hardest setting, which is even more nuts. Okay, Josh, I gotta find a brush for the highlights on this pond. Let's see if I can find a good one here. Nope. I think this is where eventually, if I keep it up with digital, I'm going to start making my own brushes again. And I'll give them away for the Patreon backers and whatnot. But there are times where like I'm searching for someone else's brush, or like I'm going through their brush stuff and I'm like, it's not quite the look that I'm wanting. And I'm like forcing something to work. Ooh, I like this brush though.
One of your 10,000 brushes will do the job.
Well, these are like other people's brush packs, so I'm going through theirs being like, does this work? I mean, I do have my own that I made with CG Cookie, and I kind of know how these all work, which is nice because then I like know the result that I'm going to get. But I think it's about time that I make some new ones here.
Felix says, I used to want to be primarily a character artist, but I was better at environments. Now I just really thrive when I combine the two, characters and complex environments, and that's what I feel like produces the best outcomes for me.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. I think you're very good at creating a scene for that character to thrive in. Like you're almost setting up a stage for that character to like be the main character, and I think you do a really good job with that.
Cursed Fetus says, in regards to D by D, I can't say either, but I always get my butt kicked even while group chatting. It's tough. You get against people that are definitely just really good.
Well, especially what you said, Josh. If they team up, I mean, it's gonna be really difficult as a killer to win that one.
Oh yeah, well yeah, for a killer if you're going against a group. But I mean, sometimes there are killers that are just really good though. Is there any specific killer you guys think is annoying to play against?
I mean, I'm terrible at the game. I enjoy watching Josh play. I actually get nervous. Even though...
Oh yeah, you don't...
I'll let you answer, but I think a lot of people assume because I run Drawltober, I'm a big Halloween nut, that like I'm super obsessed with horror, but I am not obsessed with horror. I get spooked very easily. I can't even watch people get like their blood drawn on TV shows. I'm kind of a baby with that stuff. So usually with horror movies, I have to like close my eyes. So playing horror games, it's even worse. And D by D, when I first started playing with Josh, oh my god, I was hiding in lockers. I was like hiding in bushes. Once I started to realize it's more like a cat and mouse game of tag, honestly, it's really not that scary. There'll be jump scare moments for sure, but like it's not as bad as I was giving it credit for initially.
A couple moments where I actually jump because like the stealth
They're like
killers
right behind you.
You don't see them coming, yeah. I hated going against the spirit. It's the girl from The Ring.
Oh yeah, you don't like the spirit.
Or not her. Sorry, no. Wrong one. The spirit was there's two spirits. Well, there's the ring girl, but then there's the other spirit where she can like go invisible for a second and then just pop up somewhere. It's annoying because like chases, you can't really know what's going on sometimes. Oh yeah, we'll play more of that this October, Tim. You can see they made a bunch of changes to the game too.
Yeah, I'd actually play with you. We have another friend, Angela, who got really good with it.
I think she
I would
got
play
better than
some.
I did.
I mean, I would do some live streams of D by D, but you're gonna see me get a little spooked. A little spooked, I must say.
Tim will be on the hook a lot, but it's fine.
I'll be on the hook. Or I actually like saving people off the hook. Like, I actually enjoy that job. Which I know probably isn't the most useful. Oh no, I liked doing the generators, which is the main point of the game.
Oh yeah, very chill. I'm a gen jockey, so I kind of just sit on them. Because almost most people just run for a save because you get a ton of points for doing it. So at that point, I'm like, I'll just sit in a gen, let them do all the work. Yeah, I think observation duty, some Dead by Daylight. We'll try to do some stuff this October, especially because we'll be home. So,
which I'm very excited about. My favorite October ever was 2020, not because there was a raging pandemic shutdown at the time, but because I didn't have to go to cons during my favorite month of the year. So running Drawtober, I didn't have any distractions. It was like I could just focus on the prompts and the community, and it was amazing. I really, really liked it. Oh my gosh, our jazz music has switched to Christmas. Not yet. Still got some time before that one.
Oh yeah, I can't.
I know I'll have to change it.
Oh, there we go. I forgot I can't hear it on my screen, but when I listen on the stream, I can hear it.
Let me just switch that out really quick. I mean, technically,
Merry
Christmas in July is a thing for a lot of people. Still got some time before that one.
Oh yeah, I can't.
Yeah, this one has been weirdly more challenging for me than the past two. Oh, oops. Let me just switch that out really quick. Probably heard double audio there for a second. Josh, you gotta let me know when that happens.
What?
I had, when I switched the audio, or the Christmas jazz,
Yeah.
I accidentally clicked play on the YouTube video to see, but I forgot that I can't do that or else they'll hear double us.
I can't hear the stream though, so how would I know?
Oh no. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess
I don't know.
our wonderful viewers would have to let us know that something's wrong. Be like, just so you know, we can hear you double. Okay, this one is so weird for me. I don't know why. I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm having a good time painting it, but I'm realizing definitely more challenges with this one than the previous two. I think because I'm becoming more aware of my brush limitations and my understanding of them needs to be strengthened, because I'm finding shortcomings in like areas where I'm like, okay, I need a brush that looks like this and will perform like this, but I don't have any of those brushes at my disposal. So I think I might have to make some.
Andonice says, so basically, Schwa goes first into haunted houses. Exactly.
Yes. Josh doesn't get scared, even though he looks like he would be more scared of things than the average person, being more of like a twink.
Oh, yeah.
Small. But like what's funny is Josh can play horror games in VR and be totally fine. Like he won't even flinch. Meanwhile, I'm like watching him covering my eyes. I'm definitely more of a baby when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, I do like haunted houses, but the older I'm getting, the more they're like cringy to me. Because I think now that I'm like 30, I realize half the people in them are like high schoolers.
Yeah.
It's like a very yeah. It's always like almost like it's more uncomfortable now than it is scary for me. I'm like, oh.
I feel like I'd be so cringed out the whole time. That would almost be worse for me. Like that's the horror.
That's the true horror, yeah.
Josh and I went to a haunted hike one time. What was this, 2 years ago? And I was so cringed out by the high schoolers trying to scare us on this hike that I was almost more afraid of being talked to or having to interact with someone than the actual jump scare itself. I was like, please, please don't make me interact with you.
Running away from conversations.
Like at that point, just cut me in half with a chainsaw. That'd be way better than having to endure this.
It was like an introvert's nightmare, was that haunted hike.
Well, it's crazy.
It was fun,
I'm
though,
not
still.
even an introvert. Like, I really think it's just so uncomfortable because these kids think they're scary and they're not. They're just weird. Like, they're good with the jump scare, but then they'll just stand there afterwards because they don't know what to do. So your emotion goes from being freaked out from a jump scare to like immediate uncomfortable standing there. And you feel it. It's like palpable. It's like immediate uncomfortable.
I don't think they know what to do either, though. It's kind of like
yeah, it makes it even worse.
Yeah. Curse Fetus says, "Are you guys into Christmas or do you like Halloween more?" Oh, that's an easy one for Tim.
I will always love Halloween the most per se, but I know Josh hates that I like all holidays for the most part, except for Valentine's Day. I have been getting better with Valentine's Day, but Christmas I'm also a huge nut for. I love Christmas as well.
Oh, Valentine's Day.
You're making me enjoy it more because I'm realizing it doesn't have to be this like public event that I think a lot of people make it, and I think similar to what we were just talking about, like the cringe level, I think a lot of people are just very cringy on Valentine's Day. No offense.
One of Tim and I's first ever fights was on our first Valentine's Day when we were dating.
Yeah.
Granted, I was kind of not smart with my decision making on this either because Tim had a convention the next day, but I booked us for this like 10-course meal that was themed towards the Smiths songs. That was really not. It was fun, but we definitely got in a fight over it because Tim was like, "Josh, I love you, but I cannot. I don't have time to do this." And then I was like, "Well, I already booked it. Valentine's Day is supposed to be special." Yeah, it was a whole thing.
If anyone's done a con before, imagine having to take the night before just completely off. Like you're not allowed to do much, and that was my Valentine's Day.
This was like almost 6 years ago now. I barely knew what conventions, like how it works. So I'm like, Tim, whatever. You have all your stuff already put together.
The thing is, like,
I had no idea
necessarily in the wrong because, like, yes, I should have planned better before then. But as you've now come to learn with cons, things always come up. Like a print doesn't print right, or you have to make more signs. Like, there's always something that needs to be done the day or two before.
So yeah, looking back, I was definitely not making the right decisions with that. But I remember we got in a whole fight too because I was like, Tim, Valentine's Day is all about love. Tim's like, ugh.
Yeah, it didn't really have that same appeal to me that it did to Josh.
It's okay. I love you for that.
Well, and plus, we agree with Christmas, though. We both really like Christmas.
Yeah, so I would say, I think before I met Tim, I probably like Christmas more, but our Halloweens have been really fun now. I think having house, I love I do love trick-or-treaters, and I never had my own place where I had trick-or-treaters, because every apartment I had, kids never went door to door there. So it's been really fun to like have my own house now that I could, we could set out snacks and I don't know.
Yeah,
poop the
I
kids
agree.
in the front yard. Yeah,
I love it.
It makes it fun. But I do like Christmas. I like the snow, and I think I like everything around Christmas. I just like being inside, having the fire on. It's just cozy.
Yeah, Christmas definitely has a feeling to it that obviously I don't think Halloween has anything near that. Halloween's more of like a very comforting, spooky, orange vibe.
Oh, also Christmas treats. I love baking.
Oh, there's
cookies.
my mom.
Oh.
Knew she would call eventually. It's Wednesday.
You just might need to text her and be like, 20 minutes.
I should just text her and be like, hey, remember when I told you like 100 times
it's her
that
birthday,
Wednesday?
be nice.
No, I love my mom. Don't get me wrong, but I did. She just cannot remember. It's like Wednesday from 2 to 4. Just I can't pick up. I
She's
will
so
call you
cute.
before, after. I'll talk to you as long as you want.
Uh,
Yeah, Josh, this one's kind of catching me off. I have to admit, I am not moving as quickly as I did the other two. I mean, I'm also not using the Cintiq, so I guess it's like relearning working with this, but no excuses. I gotta get better with this.
Is it just like getting fine details in now that you feel like you're just not?
Um, there was a lot of textures in this piece that I felt like I didn't have to do with the last two. Even though the last one had an environment in it, I feel like this one I struggled with more, and I'm still trying to figure out exactly why. But I'm definitely learning a lot. Like this definitely taught me that I think I need to make my own brushes, which I was avoiding that truth for a little bit. But if I'm going to be doing digital, I think I got to find what works for me. And then also the field of flowers doesn't look exactly how I want it to. But that's okay. That's why we, go through growing pains. When we learn something new, you can't just expect to be good at it right away.
Felix says, "No buildings saves times, but all the gradients are challenging."
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Actually, yeah, I'll
Vigilante.
draw the boy in.
Vigilante said, "Had to watch Love Island." Sorry. Oh my
Ah!
gosh. That's the one we just watched the other day, right?
No, that was too hot to handle.
Oh, Too Hot to Handle. That's right.
I mean, I always give those shows a try, but then I always remember like I'm just not the target demographic for it.
People say Love Island's fun to watch. I think Too Hot to Handle is almost like
No,
so
honestly, any of
stupid.
them. I don't like any of them. Like
I
dating
love
shows,
trash
I
TV.
don't like. If it's competition, I'm into it. Like if there is some, I mean, Josh knows that like I love this show called The Challenge, and yeah, there's definitely drama with it, but it's definitely more focused on the challenges that they have to do and like compete in, especially nowadays.
I like that
Oh,
Lego one.
yep, the Lego one, Lego Masters. I'll watch anything that has a competition undertone to it, like literally anything. I also have not been using my selection tool. Um, I need to remember that that is a new function that I should be using more.
Hmm? Wait, what are all the lines in the grass for?
Those were the initial outlines I drew, so I can kind of place where things should go.
Oh, gotcha.
What's weird is okay, so like if I want to do his pants, instead of drawing them out, I'm gonna selection tool this. And fill it in. Actually, he has kind of like dark pants. And then mask it out, and then paint some of the highlight coming down on him.
Adonis says you should play the Lovecraft version of D&D, Call of Cthulhu, or Mountains of Madness. I've never done D&D before, but we have friends that want to try it out.
Wait, wasn't there a Cthulhu D by D or no?
No,
Okay. I would try a D by D, but you really have
or
to
D.
trust your dungeon master, your DM. I think the few times that I've tried it, it's just been it's just kind of cringy. Actually, similar to the high school students, like if you can't find a good group to do it with, I feel like it can just be incredibly cringy.
I want to try it out though, because I feel like it'll be fun with like a good group of people. Have
I
like
agree.
a beer or something and just chill out. I don't know.
I think if um, one of Josh's best friends, Hannah, lives in Seattle and her boyfriend, Eli, we really like him as well, but he would be a great DM because he's funny, he's probably really good at storytelling, and he plays a lot of games, so he knows what would be entertaining. I think that's the kind of thing you want for D by D, or D and D.
Curse Fetus says, it's always so good to listen to you guys while working. Thanks for making my shifts more enjoyable. My hip pain is hardcore, but it's lessened with nice conversations.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm so sorry about your hip pain, though. Is that something that's going to go away for you, I would hope? But yeah, it's nice to have you here, too. Andonice says, I always associate Halloween with the gloaming, that of dusk, when the whole landscape is washed in warm golden hues. Making me more excited for October to be here.
Yeah, right. It definitely looks like a stick band from far away.
Right.
This is another challenge for me, is I'm so used to drawing figures so close up that I have to get used to like drawing them at a distance and then reduce the level of detail on them. But it's
I love his leg and foot.
Right, just the little bonk.
The little stump, yeah. He could be a Pinocchio.
Could be a Pinocchio. So what is nice though, okay, so this character, right, even though, yeah, I definitely want a lot more refining on him. Oh wait, you know what, I gotta do a rock as well. 1 second. I'm gonna show you, then Josh, like we were doing on that other drawing, how to make it look more like they're in the ground.
Oh, that's right, where you put stuff over them a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Add a little moss on the back here. I think next week, I was thinking about it, next week I think I do want to do a traditional stream. Just to try out the new setup and just to have some fun with pencils. I feel like I've been doing a lot of fun with pencils. I'm doing a lot of digital on these streams, which is fun, but I want to try another traditional one. I kind of want to do it where like, actually no, I don't want to commit to something early and then next Wednesday I'm like, oh, actually I kind of want to do this other subject matter, but now I feel like I'm locked in. So you know what? I'm not going to say anything.
Good job.
Good job. Good job, Tim, for once not committing. Yeah. It's one of my worst habits, I swear. Okay. So let me turn off that and the outline. Okay, so obviously the figure I definitely want to add more detail to. I'll probably have to do that after the stream. But to make it look like he's in the grass more, we'll go back to that grass brush that I really like, the blocking one. Grab some of the similar colors around him. Actually, I'll zoom in just a little bit better so you can see it. Actually, I feel like this is too pointy. Now that I'm looking at it, I want to do... Or actually, no, that works for what I'm trying to do first. So first I'm going to lay some grass around him so it looks like he's more in the actual field. And then I'm going to do some of the short grass. Do you see how that looks, Josh?
Hang on. I'm working with the delay. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, now he looks like sunk into the ground. More natural.
It's weird, though. Like, this... I'm struggling more than I did with the other ones. I think it's because this environment has like a mixture of painting techniques where like some of it's almost feels like a Monet watercolor painting, like, or not watercolor, a Monet painting in the foreground where it's more blurry and impressionistic, but then in the field it's more sharp, and then obviously the boy has the black outline around him, but then the background has like this mixture of textures and the light beams coming in. I think I'm gonna chalk it up to like, yeah, this one I think was a bit more challenging for me.
Oh, and you weren't color picking this time either, so.
Oh yeah, and then on top of everything,
that's
not color picking either.
Yeah. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, but you have to say that. You're my boyfriend.
Oh my god. I would tell you if I didn't like it. I think knowing you're learning still, I think this looks really good.
There's definitely things that I want to look at next time to improve upon.
I agree though. Give yourself a week next week with pencil though. Something that you actually like. Yeah.
Because you can't just be training forever. Sometimes you got to flex those muscles.
Exactly.
And for me, digital is not a muscle I can really flex. I have to just let it cool down, let it heal before going back into it. Well, I think something else I gotta get used to is I see a lot of artists that will like lay down a bunch of colors and then blend it or use a smudge tool, and I kind of like that way of doing it, but I'm so new to it that I'm not familiar with the a fun way for me to do it myself where I feel comfortable doing it.
Cursed Fetus asks, what would you do if you found out there's a ghost in your house? My friend saw one at my house and I didn't even flinch when they told me.
I think I would apologize to Josh because I have told him, even though I'm into spooky ooky things, I actually don't believe in ghosts. So I would have to say, Josh, you were right. I don't think it wouldn't really bother me that much though. Well, good question. If I found out they were actually real, yeah, that would bother me probably. And but I think when people talk about them, here you go.
Well, yeah, but if we found one in the house, then that'd be weird.
I think if we genuinely found one, that would freak me out. But usually when people talk about ghosts, I kind of zone out pretty hardcore. Like it's like when people sometimes talk about dreams, and sometimes you're like, oh boy, like this is a conversation about something that didn't happen. I guess that's weird, but you could just be making this entire thing up. Like that's how sometimes I feel with people that talk about ghosts.
I don't know.
I could be wrong though. I could be wrong.
Cursed Fetus has a ghost in their house.
I would need.
I don't know.
It's tough though because you can't even necessarily prove it.
Yeah, have you had like spooky experiences? I'm curious. Felix says, I also don't do line art, so these characters are really tough.
Yeah, I feel drawing. Like I don't really like I love Ghibli, don't get me wrong. Love the style, huge fan. I'm not the biggest fan of clashing styles. And I think this is why I don't really enjoy the new Tears of the Kingdom game or like the Legend of Zelda, because they mix this like PS3 realism graphic environment with this very heavily cel shaded characters and enemies where I don't think it meshes. And I think that's sometimes why I don't like digital brushes, because you can see when something is painted versus like an obvious brush. And it to me, it lacks that cohesion that can really help, build upon something. So I'm not the biggest fan of the outlines on the character, but I get it because with Ghibli, you need the viewer to understand where to look right away because there's so much usually going on, and an outline will really separate the character from the background. All right, I gotta work like really quick to at least give some of these rocks definition in the background here. I did not do a great job today. And that's okay. I was bound to have one of these where I was like, I think I could have done a better job, actually. And I think today's that day. But I'm going to do my best to, give it a little more polish before the stream ends here. Let's see how yours turns out, Felix. I'm sure it's more cohesive than mine.
Vigilante says, I have no idea why I like Love Island. I suppose I just like to see how their relationships evolve. They're kind of fun to watch. They're like good background entertainment.
I mean, we have a few friends that love them.
Oh yeah. I remember it was at Dragon Con. We watched F-Boy Island with one of our friends. We'd like be at the con all day and then just go back, order DoorDash, and then just watch F-Boy Island.
That one was genuinely funny. I'll give you that. Right? That one was funny.
But I hear Love Island though is a lot like that too. I always feel like they're kind of scripted, to be honest. That's why I never take them that seriously. I'm like, I don't think these people are this vain. Some of them maybe are, but I think it's a little scripted, which is what makes it so like crazy and fun though. Alice whispers, hello Alice, says, such a peaceful scene. See, Tim?
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm like stressing the hell out.
You captured the essence, though.
Actually, you know what's funny? Whenever I hear capture essence, I think of Zoolander in that commercial about capturing the water's essence.
Oh my god.
Merman.
Well, you did it.
Dad, merman. I mean, there's definitely a lot that I need to improve upon, and I feel myself going back into some of my old habits that I used to have with digital. I think maybe that's why this one was a little rougher than the other two, because the other two I think I was more open to doing new techniques, but with this one I definitely felt like I was relying on my old methods. I mean, even doing this rock right now, I'm like hand painting the rock, and that was definitely a very old way of how I would do things. So I gotta break these habits. Not that they're necessarily bad, but I'm really trying to get better and grow and learn as an artist. And if I just rely on things that have worked for me in the past, I'm not doing a lot of growing necessarily. But also I don't do environments ever. So I'm gonna try to take this as like you're in your growing phase with digital. Don't be too harsh on yourself. You'll do better next time.
Curse Fetus says, my two friends saw Shadow laughing at my kitchen. They weren't high like me, so that's why I believe them. They seem shocked. Thanks for reading my weird comments. Are they laughing at your kitchen or in your kitchen? Either way, they're laughing, so it seems like a nice guy. Just a little laughing ghost. Still spooky though. I don't think I've ever like saw a ghost, but I've had experiences that I felt like were not of this plane, so to speak. Andonis says, so in Rapunzel, when they were singing I Have a Dream, you were just like, no thanks.
For what is the reference here?
Oh my god, I'm trying to remember what we were talking about with that. Andonis, I'm so sorry.
Oh my, reads the comment, doesn't even know what the context is.
I was hoping that you might remember what we were...
You're setting me up for failure, my boob.
Oh, when you're talking about the dreams, believing them.
Oh!
Yeah.
It's funny, like, I actually don't mind people talking to dreams to me as much, but my best friend Kat, she hates it. Absolutely hates when people talk about dreams to her. She's like, oh, so you're just making up a bunch of stuff to me and I have to care. She hates it. Hates it.
Did you have a dream diary? Or you did have one?
I still do. Like when I have a really good dream, it's just kind of fun to remember them, but I feel like I rarely share them though.
I don't remember any of my recent ones. There was one I had the other night that like stressed me out. and it involved you, and it was like a time crunch. I had to get something done, and I wasn't getting it done in time, so I was panicking.
I think that's the real world.
And then I woke up. Yeah, it was a very realistic. I usually get like weird dreams, but yeah.
Oof. No, I do not like this one at all. I'm not even gonna give this one to my Patreon backers. This one's like, bleh.
Lena says, sorry, have been focusing so much, haven't been in chat. I cannot stand any of the love shows like Love Island, Temptation Island, Too Hot to Handle, Bachelor. But competition shows otherwise, yes. Yeah, that's definitely
love competition shows.
Felix says, I also spend too much time chatting. I was super slow today.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how you came out with this. This was not a good one for me.
Yeah, I mean, the original definitely is like...
Are you ready for me?
I see what you mean by the Monet. Yeah, it's just very like colors scattered everywhere with the flowers.
I'm doing like the worst digital art hack where you try to like cover your mistakes with like large foreground element stuff.
Just stamp it up.
Stamp it up. Even though I feel like deep down I'm like, this is making it worse. Stop.
Tim's like, let me just put this foliage over everything.
Yeah, right? Just the entire thing. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. You can see the drawing somewhere in there. Cursed Fetus says, which one would you rather have be real? Aliens or ghosts?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah, Cursed Fetus, I tell you, every time you come in chat, it's always like these questions that make you think. I like it. I'm gonna go with ghosts. I think aliens would cause too many like, because now we're dealing with like outside forces, where ghosts would be like in a way of this world though still, or of this planet, I'd assume.
You know what's funny is if ghosts became real, I think it would throw a lot of chaos in the world because it throws religion into a weird mix of like, wait, if ghosts are real and when we die, you know, you spend your afterlife still on Earth, what does that say about religion? Did every religion get it wrong?
Oh, that's true. And then people might see life and death differently completely.
I mean, it could be for the better, but I think there would be a lot of chaos for sure.
But I would think, what do you think aliens would also cause that same issue? Maybe not.
No, because then people could be like, well, no, if there's a god, like maybe he still created aliens as well.
Oh, I guess.
Like there would be more of an easier way to explain it. Who knows though? I think religious people will find a way to explain anything. You know, God's plan and whatnot. I mean, they could be right too. I don't want to knock them either. Like they could be right.
I still choose ghosts. I think that, you know.
Yeah, I think ghosts would be more fun for me personally.
Winter illustration. Hi, super late to this one. No worries. Tim's about to wrap it up, but...
Wrap it up and throw it away.
No. Cursed Fetus, have you seen the glass sculpting contest TV show? I've heard that one is good.
Yep, blown away. You bet I have.
That one's intense though.
It definitely, you can tell like by the third season, they were kind of reaching for people to be on it. Because you're like, oh, okay, I don't know if these are as good as the first two seasons. I think that's with a lot of shows actually, like Glow Up, Face Off. Anywhere like they make a lot of seasons back to back and quickly, I'm like, oh, give time for people to develop it and whatnot.
Well, they're like such niche craft ones too. Like glass blowing to me, probably there's not that many people that actually do like, I don't know, do that for a living where they can actually like master it. Same with the pottery one too, where it's like, I know there's a lot of potters out there, but it's not as like widespread as, I don't know, other, I guess, competition shows. If you were a ghost, how would you spook people, or you wouldn't scare people?
I would be a prankster probably.
Hmm. How would you prank people? Just like throw things?
Just like setting no, like setting funny alarms or um I'm trying to think like if can you interact with the real world? I guess that would be my follow-up question because then like I would throw like a marble every now and then or just something kind of funny. But if you're not able to interact with the real world, I don't know what I would do actually.
I think it's like poltergeists technically are the ones that can actually like interact with the physical realm.
Oh, is that the
Like
lore?
that's the lore of, yeah, the
Okay.
ghostly realm. Um, all right, as you're wrapping up, I'm gonna catch up on these last few comments.
And then I guess if any of my Patreon backers that are watching, I know that these are so labor intensive. I'm like, I don't even know why I request people to draw alongside me because these are tough. Um, but I know for sure Felix has his. So if anyone else drew alongside me today, if you want to post on the Discord, I will share your images after Josh asks a few of these questions.
All right, Alice Whisper said, or let's see, Vigilante says I have to go to sleep. First day of work tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Good
Good
night,
night.
Vigilante. Good luck on your first day at work.
Yeah, good luck.
Alice says, okay, once I saw a ghost in a dream when I was living on Bali, and in the morning I went to visit my friends, and there was a local priest in their house. He asked me how I am doing in that house where I live. I said I just had the weirdest dream, and he straight away was telling me, did you see a black shadow in your dreams? And that was exactly what I saw. That was spooky.
Ooh.
I mean, how do you, Tim, how do you explain stuff like that?
The thing is, a lot of like ghost belief is also the same thing of like religious belief. It's one of those things where like you have to have faith that what you're hearing is the truth. Um, so like I can't deny that that did happen, but it also is very much like there are convenient coincidences in the world, but sometimes they do feel spooky, and I can't deny that. I've had my own fair share where I'm like, oh, that was like a really weird, convenient coincidence that is really hard to explain. It's like undeniably hard to explain. So I don't know. I like to think that there's magic in the world or like there's things that are unexplainable. So I like to leave it at that. But for me personally, I don't believe in ghosts.
Uh, Bar- um,
Except for
oh,
Casper.
Barbara. Oh yeah, Casper. Um, Rob, hello, Barbara. I almost always remember all my dreams so vividly that a bit of, it has become a habit of sharing them with my husband in the morning. His favorite one is the one of the naked
Oh.
Russian ballet dancer. He hopped in and out of our bedroom. I mean, those are actually kind of fun dreams. Memorable.
Definitely memorable, yeah.
Because you can never like pinpoint why did that even happen in my dream? It's just goofy.
Your subconscious is trying to tell you something. Maybe it's time for you guys to go see the ballet.
But naked.
But naked, yeah. Of course.
Cursefita says, have you ever met someone in death's bed seeing their lost ones? Do you think that's more so a
Mm.
chemical process in the brain to facilitate death?
So actually recently I was in the room when my grandma passed away and I went through the whole process of like her breathing slowing down and then it's 30 seconds between breaths and then the gurgling from choking on the spit to eventually like a minute and a half between breaths and then finally like death. And it was weird. I thought it would have freaked me out more because I had kind of a crazy experience last September that has like thrown off my sense of like reality and perceiving it, but um, it was actually so peaceful. It made me like comforted that if that's how I die and if there is nothing after this, I'm okay with that. Um, do I think it's a chemical process? Yes. Um, I read this report too that when you die, um, your brain releases a little bit of the same chemical as essentially acid. And that's why when people have like these, I saw heaven or out of body or like very bonkers visuals, it's because your brain's trying to protect you as you move on to what could be, I guess, nothing. And I thought that was really interesting that, your brain, even while dying, is still trying to protect you from experiencing like negative emotions. So I can't disprove or prove anything about stuff like that, but I will say I feel a lot more calmly about death. But my only fear is dying, only because I enjoy being alive so much. And I've told this to Josh so many times, where it's like this really beautiful stage right now in life where I just really enjoy it. I just really enjoy being alive. I like sharing things with people. I like seeing what they do. Oh, look at that. Call number 2 from Mom. There we go.
Oh, well, now this is on us. We're past 4. We don't tell her 4.
Well, okay, so imagine if you knew someone that gets off at 4 from like their job. You don't call right at 4. Oh, Mom. I love her. Very funny with time.
All right, so we got a couple. Felix posted his in the chat, and then we have. Oh, Lena put. Ooh, Lena, this looks so good. Oh my god, you actually got a lot done during the stream.
Okay, let me pull those up. So I guess I'm calling this one
Felix. This looks so...
my study today. There are some things I actually do like I know I was dogging on it. Hate the flower brushes that I was using. I think those very much look like a digital stamp, and that's when I don't like digital painting. I do like some of the color mixing happening in the rays. I think that's kind of fun, but yeah, overall, I need to make my own brushes, I think, for certain parts of the drawing. All right, let me pull up Felix's here. Let's see. Ooh, so then this is the watercolor that they are working on before I pull up Felix's. This is gorgeous. I love color play and the interplay that you do between like the subtle differences of a specific hue. Like I love this very soft pink color that you have amongst all these violets. I think it's really pretty. And then for Felix, ooh, yeah, you definitely did the foreground elements way better than I did. And you wrote, also didn't manage to finish mine, so no flower in lower right. I think what I did manage to finish is decent, but I was definitely pretty slow. Yeah, I feel like you were more confident with choosing the bold colors than I was. Like my background's definitely more of like a hazy wash of the colors, where I felt like you were more bold with your darker darks. Yeah, and you did add the black outline on the character. Your character is definitely better than my little stick man there. And then, yeah, the flowers on the bottom left, that almost feels like I should hand paint the entire thing. And I think that's what you did too. And that's where I felt so much slower, where I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do some of these foreground elements. But I think you did a great job with capturing the rays coming through and it kind of illuminating the trees that are behind it. I think you did a better job on the side rays. I think the middle one, it almost feels like the tree, it's like too coming forward. I think I want to see it a little more recessed. Let's see what else here. Yeah, I feel like I can see the grass brush that you're using, and I think you did a better job at laying out some of the value shifts. Let me see mine again. Yeah, mine's too consistent in like a mid. I think you were better at playing with some of the contrasts here. But yeah, I don't know how you feel about this, Felix. This was a tough one for me. Actually, you know what I
said? No foreground flowers. The foreground flowers are mostly a brush, and then I only hand painted a few leaves and stems.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I think what's nice about digital too is literally I can adjust the values like post, and it can definitely create more of that punch that I think before you can see before and after. Just a little bit, but it definitely adds more of that range. Yeah, I focus more on that back half, this area. Ooh, let me grab a color. yeah, this area over here really struggled with some of the foreground elements, which is strange because the first daylight one we did, I actually really liked what I did for those, but yeah, do not like any of this going on. Not a big fan of the flowers that were used, and my stick man definitely needs some work. This was interesting. I think it stands out a little too much, but what I liked is there's some areas behind it that like create these shadow silhouettes from the trees, like behind there. I almost want to play with that more. I like some of these more nuanced background elements, even back here, that were really fun. And then I think the pond it's okay, but even that, the highlights, I shouldn't have hand painted each of them. This is where, yeah, brush that was, it had almost a spacing in between how it laid out would have been really nice. And I think my goal with digital is just becoming as efficient as I possibly can while still enjoying the process, still putting my own spin and touch and style into it. And it's just something I got to keep learning. So yeah, thank you again, Felix, for joining along. Next week will definitely be more of like a fun, easier one. So we can put these kind of environment heavy studies on the back burner for a little bit. And I forget that I have to look at the camera over here now. So Josh, do you have any last minute words for everyone?
No, it was really nice chatting with everyone today. Thank you all for showing up again. And yeah, looking forward to more of these.
Yeah, I'm excited for our first traditional one next week. And I think I might just go off of either a drawing, like a simpler drawing, and then try to actually finish it in 2 hours. I think that's going to be the challenge, because my only issue with doing traditional versus digital nowadays is traditional I feel slower, and I feel like it's not as much fun for viewers to watch versus when I do something digital, because you can move so much faster and have more of an end result that pops. And I don't know if I always get that with traditional, because especially if I'm having like an off art day, even like today I had an off art day, but I feel like I still had something to present. So yeah, we're going to try to tackle that next week. Anyways, I'll stop jammering. And thank you guys so much for coming to this live stream. We have the Drawtober Discord that you can join. It's free to join, and we will be very active on it all season long. And that's along with the other co-hosts that we have. It's very exciting. We almost have, I think we're like at 450 or just under 450 people already on there. And what else do we have going on? You can join my Patreon. I always post short form work in progress pictures, or like even today, actually, I just posted a new YouTube video on my Woodland U7. Actually, I don't know why I forgot about that. Yeah, let me share the thumbnail. So I basically take you through the entire process of working on this drawing from start to finish, and I show you how I used powdered graphite on a lot of the background elements. So I always let my Patreon backers watch it a month or two before I post it publicly. So if you do not want to join my Patreon, you can find this video in September. And then Josh and I have another one in the works, and I'm hoping to do a time-lapse video either later tonight or tomorrow morning. But that one I'll release publicly right away. So you can look for that sometime this weekend if you want to watch a time-lapse from me. Okay, I'll stop talking. Done enough of that today. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope to see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week.
Bye. Thank you guys.